Well, I'm getting really worried about these wild kittens because they're getting really tame, and I'd rather they got a home. And I thought, well, who's going to want kittens in Griffith? We have an absolute plague of cats. And then I thought, I know exactly who would like a kitten. So I'm going to hang this on a big, lovely tree where the school kids are brought out for their break, little 8-year-olds and 6-year-olds. And I dare say that there are going to be quite a few adults in Griffith who aren't very pleased with me by the evening, but oh well. I'm sure some dear little child would like a dear little kitten. I just need to put my phone number in there, and then I'll go and take that down and nail it to a tree. I'm calling this Operation Bulrush, obviously after Moses, who also needed to be rehomed and was sent out to drift on the Nile River. I figure if God can rehome Moses, he can rehome the kittens. The kittens. You see, I'm getting attached. This is really bad. So I'll let that dry, and then I'll get a hammer and a nail, and I shall go and adorn the tree with it. Well, I've got my hammer, and I'm now going to go down and hang my little notice on the tree and pray over it, and hope I can rehome these kittens. There we go. Operation Bulrush is a go. They should be out soon. Okay, I'm not going to film the kids, but they've just brought out a batch of about 30 of them, and they were all mulling around the tree having a look at my little notice. So I do think a beautiful tree across from the school is basically Times Square for advertising, where you try to hook kittens. Unfortunately, it appears to be a sports day, so they're now running laps, but there's a few milling around my notice, so I have high hopes. And here are Mum and Dad going off camping. Dad will be setting the GPS, even though they know exactly where they're going. And Mum says that Dad will probably spend quite a lot of time just sitting in the air-conditioned vehicle. Well, you haven't wasted much time moving in, have you? You know what, she's just going to walk through and check out Eureka's cat hole. Oh, there they go. They asked me if I wanted to go. I was like, no. I have Netflix, I have air conditioning, I have Canva, I have my violin. No one here to complain when I sound horrible, except the cat. The other cat, who sometimes goes and throws up in the garden where I can see him when I'm playing on high notes. Very rude. I bet you think you're coming in. Oh yeah, you know I'm alone. And you know that I probably won't have the heart to kick you out. I'm going to go back downstairs and do some more video editing. Come on, say hello. Say hello to the camera. Snazzy beast. You're my snazzy little beast, aren't you? Hello. There we go. There's the residue of Mum and Dad's camping trip. The picnic camper, the last thing to not be put away. And actually I feel a little bit foolish because I just assumed I knew where they were going, and it turns out they were going somewhere different, and it sounds like it was really nice and shady and beautiful, and I kind of regret my dismissive attitude. But will the Ruthie learn anything from this? Will the Ruthie take stock? Will the Ruthie give a different answer when the parents say, want to come with to a camping site? Absolutely not, because Ruthie hates camping. In fact, the only thing she hates more is hiking, because anything really physical is just not my cup of tea. Frankly, the violin is a little too physically strenuous. You have to hold it up with one hand and move the bow with the other one. And excuse me, why are you taking my foot, cat? That's not, ow, 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 ow. But I do play the violin because I was learning piano, and the local violin teacher rang up and said to Mum, I'll do 3 for the price of 1, you, Ruth and her sister. And of course, because we are of Scottish extraction, he was just tacking my foot before, she switched, and that's why I play the violin. Well, still no calls on my Operation Bulrush poster, and now I think she's trying to give us one of the kittens, because she's brought it to the front door. by itself. And the worst thing is I'm really tempted. Like, really tempted. But no, I must be strong. And God, you've got to send us homes for these kittens, please. We cannot have 5 cats. We just can't. So I'm down here adding a mouse to one of Mum's drawings because she's doing this the book called The House Lion, and she wants one of my mice coming out of the page. And she said this morning when we were having coffee, can you just draw that mouse while we're just sitting there? And I said, no, I can't just draw the mouse while I'm sitting here. I have to actually look at it and work out where I'm going to place it and make sure the proportions are nice. And I said, you said you needed that by Wednesday. And she said, wow, she said, I'm actually a day ahead of my schedule. Well, bully for you. We should all be so lucky as Mum to get a whole day ahead, but I don't mind. It'll be fun. So my Wednesday is now my Tuesday. Suppose I'll have to put my Tuesday onto my Wednesday, but not too unhappy about it because that should be fun. And I'll let you have a look when I put the mouse in. It's a bit nerve-wracking because she's done all that work on the cat. I'm like, I hope the mouse turns out all right. So wish me luck. I may need it. There we go. Put the mouse in for Mum. How did I do? I'll take that up to her and she can start colouring it in. That's my current invention. It's like an orange chocolate bar. I don't know how it's going to go though because I used a custard base for the filling, but I sort of I experimented around and I put a bit of, oh, this is so cute. We're keeping him inside because it's too hot and he gets all lost down the end of the road, so he has to be incarcerated. I added gelatine to sort of stabilize it. I'm not sure how that's going to go because usually from a chemistry point of view, citrus stops the gelatine from setting, but because it's got coconut cream and almond milk in it as well, I'm not sure if that's going to be a positive thing or not. So it's just an experiment, and I'll let it set, and if it tastes nice, I'll put it up on the blog. I was reading through some of my recipes and I was like, these are very self-congratulatory. I'm like, oh, this tastes so good. Oh, this tastes amazing. I thought that sounds pretty arrogant. But the truth is, I'm just not going to put up something that tastes yuck because you're my friends and I don't want to give you a yuck recipe. And believe me, I do produce them. They just don't go on the blog. So I'll let you know how my great experiment using gelatine with orange juice turns out. Oh, you're just so cute. We think he might be two-timing us. He came home smelling of flea powder. And we hadn't flea powdered him recently, but gotta say, if someone's flea powdering him, all to the good. All to the good. But I don't like the idea of him having another family. I want to be his only family because he's special. I just come and show you some of Mum's paintings for her book, The House Lion. I won't put her in the shot because I think it's very mean to video people without warning because they might feel more like a specimen that should be put in a jar than something that should be on camera if you don't give them warning. Well, certainly I sometimes feel like a specimen that should be in a jar rather than on camera. That's the one that we did together, eh, Mum?
Yeah, we collaborated.
Yeah, I think that's really cute. The cat's very good, Mum.
No, the mouse is very good, Ruth.
I just love this mutual appreciation society. I love that.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
Absolutely gorgeous, Mum. Can't wait to see this book. Hello, guys. It's Ruthie. You know how at the start of the week I went and put a notice on the tree and I prayed that God would help us rehome those kittens? Well, the kittens haven't actually had homes yet. Like, nothing at all. And sometimes prayer doesn't look like it's going to work, and it made me think of a story from years and years and years ago when Dad moved my family to America to pursue his PhD. He didn't actually get the PhD in the end, but he could have. Wall Street went down and there was no more funding for research and development, so we had to come home. But this particular story is about when we went to America, and one of the things we had to do before we could go is I had to sell my horse. My sister and I had horses. We had to sell our horses. So she sold her horse, and I was trying to sell my horse because we wanted him to be really well looked after. And you can't do that from another country, so it was time to let him go. Oscar. I loved my horse. It was a very sad and tragical day in the Chronicles of Ruthie when I realized I had to sell my horse. But anyway, we were praying to sell this horse because we wanted to have him sold before we got on the plane to America. And quite often with God, He will leave His answer till the very last minute. And it is nerve-wracking and it is really frightening, but if you're going to start living a life of prayer, it's just something you've got to get used to, because I don't know why He does it, but He just does it. And sometimes we don't like His methods either. So this particular situation, we were going into winter in New Zealand because we were going to America in the summer, American summer. And we had someone lined up who was interested in buying Oscar. And they were bringing their riding instructor to tell them whether they thought Oscar was a good horse or not. So we said to God, we said, because I think we were getting on the plane within a couple of weeks. It may have even been less than that. This is a long time ago, so I don't remember all the details, but we really needed that horse sold. And we said to God, we cannot have a wet, rainy day when they come to try out Oscar. It's just impossible. Because this is New Zealand. It was New Zealand and it rains a lot in New Zealand. We said, this is the one day you're going to have to give us a fine day, because horses get skitterish on wet days, and maybe they're not even going to come and look at him if it's too wet. So we got up on the morning that we had these people coming to look at Oscar. And you guys, it was the worst possible day. It was like a thunderstorm. It was pouring with rain. It was absolutely terrible. If you've ever been in New Zealand, in the north of New Zealand, when the rain comes down, it really comes down. And we said, oh no, we prayed. We specifically prayed about this. We said, God, why? We were very upset. Anyway, they did come and they tried out the horse in the pouring rain and the wind. And do you want to go? Well, fine, go then. And at the end of trying out the horse, they said to the riding instructor, to this expert they brought, they said, what do you think? And she said, buy the horse. She said, any horse that can conduct himself like that on a day as bad as this is a really, really safe horse. So we sold the horse. We sold the horse in time. And we sold the horse because of specifically the sort of day that we told God that we absolutely couldn't have. So read the kittens. I don't know what God's going to do with those kittens, but the fact that those kittens are important to us makes those kittens important to God. So we will keep praying, and I am sure at some point we will get a miracle. And in your life, if you're seeing things go in directions you don't really want them to go, and even if you're telling God and He doesn't seem to be listening, don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. It's all going to work out just fine. Oh, and I just want to say that in New Zealand, we don't seem to get fork lightning, and the lightning was over when they arrived to try out the horse, but there was a lot of rain and there was a lot of wind. So I am no way endorsing riding horse in a thunderstorm, because that would be very, very dangerous. And I don't want to encourage dangerous behavior, but I do want to encourage trusting in God and realizing even when He doesn't do things according to your plan, His plan is still going to work out great. So here's my orange chocolate slice I've been working on. Not thrilled with this one. I don't know that this one's going to be going up on the blog, because I mean, it tastes quite nice, but the texture is just I was hoping for something more like a big nice square slab of something delicious you get in a cafe, and it actually is giving, because I squared off some of it to, I cut some off the side to make it all nice and pretty when I cut it into squares, and I tried it, and it's definitely giving more, you know, I was hoping for delicious cafe style slice, but it's giving more, I'm lactose intolerant, so this is the nearest thing to cheesecake that my overly sensitive system can endure. Which, you know, I am lactose intolerant, and I do have an overly sensitive system. but I don't like my food to taste like it's made for those reasons. So, yeah, not my greatest success. I also really don't like the wrinkly skin. I think that's a mix. A lot of that might be the gelatine setting strangely because of the combination with citrus. So on the whole, not a win, but we will eat it anyway because, hey, it's around, and we're not going to waste it. We're a very Scottish extraction, but I probably won't put up a recipe because no need to inflict it on the rest of you. And that brings us to the end of the daily doings at Rosebank House for the week. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye bye.